Hi, I'm Louise. I'm a cozy content creator who loves sharks. If you can't tell. I've loved them for a very, very long time, and today I want to talk about the relationship between the diver and the great white shark in Abzu. And I'm not even going to try and split this video into a spoiler and non-spoiler territory because I'm just going to get into the thick of it, and there are major plot points of the game that I'm going to be spoiling from early on. I highly recommend playing this game if you have any interest in it and wanting to go in blind. Go play it. And I recommend playing it blind. I didn't know a lot going into it when I played it and ended up loving it. But if you're just decided you don't really care, let's continue. In Abzu, you play as the diver. At the beginning of the game, the diver starts out not really sure where she comes from. I mean, there's no specific explanation at the beginning of the game. You spend your time exploring the ocean and seeing like what's around you. Parts of the ocean are desolate and parts are vibrant and beautiful. And then even in the vibrant and beautiful parts, there's still some fish missing. As you journey through the game, you bring different varieties of fish to the ocean, whether it be something large like a whale shark or some smaller variety of shark or other fish. This is done through your blue energy, or power of the ocean, as it's sometimes called in the community. We don't know where this comes from initially, but it seems quite powerful and that only the diver can do this. As you travel, you come across several mosaics and ancient temples. It appears that this group of people doesn't exist anymore, at the very least. You never see one outside of the mosaics. They also use the power of the ocean. You get that revealed to you as the story progresses. Again, this is why I said there's spoilers coming. As you go through each area, there are also triangle passageways that you go through. You travel with little robots that seem to scan you and think of you as friendly. Like first they're a little nervous with you and then they seem to warm up to you. The triangle passageways also scan you before you're allowed in. They appear a bit more ominous and very different from the vibrant, beautiful colors of the ocean. But at that point they do not pose a threat to you. As the game progresses, you learn that those triangle machines are called, well, they're not called the harvesters in the game, but that's what they're called. That's what people call them. Those giant harvesters are what disrupted the ocean's ecosystems. And eventually, you come to find out that you were once part of the harvesters. In fact, you are depicted in one of the murals as not only part of the harvesters, but assisting them in destroying and harvesting the power of the ocean. So you are in effect something that helped destroy the ecosystem. I'm not sure how the divers goes from being this robot that helps the harvesters to becoming more helpful, but at some point this does happen and you're playing the point where the diver is helping the creatures in the ocean. And eventually the giant harvester is trying to prevent you from doing this and becomes antagonistic towards you. You become eventually an enemy to the harvesters and a friend to the ocean. What's interesting about this journey with the diver, so as you're discovering the story and learning about where you came from and where your abilities came from, there's this great white shark that keeps popping up. Which is super interesting to me because in popular media, most of the time, great white sharks in particular are depicted as wild and destructive. I think my first introduction to the idea of what a shark is was in The Little Mermaid. In the beginning-ish, Ariel and Flounder are in a scary part of the ocean. Flounder keeps looking over his shoulder being like, Ariel, we shouldn't be here, let's get out of here. And wouldn't you know it, a giant great white shark attacks with giant red eyes. There's chaos and violence, and anyway, it's really intense when you're a little cat. It's pretty scary, and you're afraid that your protagonists are gonna get eaten. And of course, this isn't just unique to The Little Mermaid. One of my favorite movies of all time is Jaws. Here's my cup, and I have a Jaws Hello Kitty behind me too. And even if you don't see the shark a whole ton in that movie, it is violent with a taste for human flesh. That shark alone has done a number on how people perceive sharks. In Abzu, the shark, great white shark, is more gentle. She does attack one of the little robots that follow you around, but by the end of the game, it's clear that this is out of protecting the fish around her versus just violence for violence sake. She not only helps you, but guides you along. And I also find it interesting that the statues that you meditate on to observe all the fish look like great whites as well. The great white shark in the game becomes associated with tranquility and guidance versus how it's usually associated with chaos and violence. And it's clear that the people who existed, who built the temples, thought this too. They're the ones that built the meditating sharks. There's several murals of this specific shark with her scar throughout the game, one of which depicts this shark as sort of a leader or guardian of the other fish. And that's clear in her actions as well. She assists the divers because she knows that the diver can help. And in that way, the game ties these two characters together, both known for being destructive and full of chaos, whether that's in the game or outside of the game. When in the game itself, they both assist each other and bring life to their surroundings. They become companions and helpers and basically saviors of the ocean together. And it is hardly ever that sharks, specifically great white sharks, are depicted this way. I struggle to think of any other instance of this, and if you know of one, please tell me. And as someone who just loves sharks and sees them as magnificent and beautiful, it's wonderful to see a great white shark, a female no less, they're the bigger ones, as a creature who is protective, gentle, and kind. I love this game, not only for the way it depicts sharks, but also for how beautiful it is. I love that I get to explore the ocean. It's just gorgeous and a dream of mine to do that. And I get to do it without harming any of the fish in real life. And I love getting to ride the fish without harming them. I love that I can just sit and also watch the fish like I'm at an aquarium. And it tells you the name of the fish. I spent a good time of this game Googling the fish names and learning things about them. Did you know that the fish, the opera, I don't know how you say that. But anyway, here's what it looks like. Is warm-blooded? I didn't know that until I was Googling it while playing the game. I love also, this isn't really part of my point, but I think it's cool, that you get to see ancient extinct fish. How cool is that? I love seeing them moving and interacting with each other. I've not seen them depicted like that at any museum or documentary that I've seen, so it was really fun to see them interacting in like an ecosystem together. All this to say is there's much to love about Abzu. I'd love to know what your interpretations of the story are. There's lots to explore and learn and love. I hope if you haven't played this game and you made it this far into the video that you do play it. I think there's a lot of stuff I didn't talk about that is enjoyable to experience on your own. It's a lovely ode to the ocean and creativity and to great white sharks, who truly are some of the most magnificent creatures out there. And those giant triangles are what disrupted, oh good grief.